And that is why the Mongols suck ass. So cry about it in your fucking fatens.
Oh, shut up, medic. You assholes just are very lucky you're behind Poland in the Hungarian kingdom's backside.
Oh, still but hurt about the Hungarian Polish forces kicked your asses back to Subotais ass.
Well, at least we spread the plague to affect your so-called Holy Roman Empire.
By using your own dead comrades' infected dead bodies to launch them from a catapult into the castles. I really hate to admit, but actually that is a really good biological war tactic. But still, fuck you, Scout!
Besides the whole barbaric massacre stuff, Genghis Khan actually allowed people to have free religion everywhere they go. Muslims, Jewish, Buddhist, all of that to make them work together rather than fight each other. Hell, he even gives women the right to divorce their husbands.
You loud mouths! I'm trying to enjoy my espresso!
Sorry, Dad, we were just arguing about Total War medieval factions.
Wait a minute. You two are arguing about that glorious game? My favorite faction is France, obviously! And we were able to field the best heavy cavalry in the West. And we have good infantry in the late period, and we were able to fight off the English from conquering all of France. And as the King of France, I will lead the kingdom to glory by making it the most powerful empire in all of Europe, as I plan on expanding into Spain and Portugal and all the British Isles. We took all our lands back from the English, even Normandy, as well as Central Europe, and Italy. It will grow even more powerful than the Roman Empire. The French will prevail.
And then backstab Joan of Arc in the end.
Didn't your faction relied on a woman named Joan of Arc to fight the English? When your faction was even struggling to fight off the English, they were very close to conquering France. If it wasn't for Joan of Arc, the English would have conquered all of France and you would have been speaking English instead of French. And your faction was really pathetic by relying on a woman to protect your faction was like relying on your mother to do all the fighting for you. That's how much of a joke your faction is. Imagine if my faction, the Holy Roman Empire, invaded your pathetic faction. As we have one of the strongest armies in all of Europe, and if you struggled so badly against the English, we would conquer you a lot quicker than the English ever did, and if we did, you would have been speaking German. And as my duty as the Holy Roman Emperor, I will bring honor and glory to the Holy Roman Empire by conquering all of Europe and making my empire the most powerful empire in history.
Yeah, Dad, sorry to say this, but your faction is truly pathetic. Relying on a woman to save you from the English is like asking your mom to do all the fighting.
Oh, shut the fuck up, both of you! You both of your factions are nothing but shit compared to the French faction. And you dare to betray your own people. What would your grandfather think about it? Only the strongest cavalry will prevail each war. Oh, so Medic. The Holy Roman Empire was so dysfunctional that the Holy Roman Emperor himself was nothing more than a figurehead. He had next to no central power. The system of the Holy Roman Empire was nothing more than a fucking mess, a failed system that completely lacked central authority.
And yet you beget fighters lost in the Battle of Caen. The French failed to intercept the English transports at sea and were taken by surprise with their main army of more than 15,000 men in Gascony.
Ouch! It hurts when your horrible defeats come back to bite you in the ass.
Oh yeah? And you think you're always superior, Medic, just because you have an empire. The Holy Roman Empire wasn't even united. It was nothing but a collection of kingdoms of Hungary, Hanover, and Persia. Those kingdoms even fight each other. The Holy Roman Empire was nothing but a joke, Medic. The Holy Roman Emperor couldn't even lead his armies to war properly. He couldn't prevent his own subjects from making foreign alliances and couldn't even stop his own subjects from attempting to overthrow him. The Holy Roman Empire was nothing more than a sad joke of an empire, and it even led to its downfall thanks to Napoleon in 1806. And even if the empire invaded France, we would have easily pushed you all back to the sausage factory. The French will regain supreme all over Europe, and we will fucking dominate everyone who gets in our way. The Kingdom of France will not only just dominate Europe, but the world.
You have a good point, Dan. The Holy Roman Emperor completely lacked central authority within the Holy Roman Empire, and it was indeed a laughable joke of an empire.
How dare you mock the Holy Roman Empire? You mama's boy! The Holy Roman Empire will dominate all Europe, and there will be no one to fucking stop us!
I'm glad you agree with me, Scout. But I have something I need to say about the Mongolian Empire as well. The Mongolian Empire was indeed an impressive faction, and has more of a central authority unlike the Holy Roman Empire. But however, it overextended its borders too much to the point where Mongolian troops became stretched too thin across the empire, and they couldn't even defeat the Hungarians and the Polish in Eastern Europe, as they have weapons and armor that were much more advanced than the Mongolians.
Well, not everybody is perfect, and I'm sorry for disrespecting you like that earlier.
That's more like it some next time. Don't go overhead.
Your pathetic cavalry has nothing to say compared to my superior morale of knights, archers, cavalry, etc.
Except in the late, early period, we have two superior armor.
800 years ago, relatively small armies of mounted warriors suddenly exploded outward from the cold, arid elevation grasslands of Mongolia and conquered the largest conquest. Led by Genghis Khan and his sons and grandsons, the Mongols briefly ruled most of modern-day Russia, China, Korea, Southeast Asia, Persia, India, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe. They reshaped world geography, culture, and history in ways that still resound today. Our empire was so freaking massive that your puny knights would get tired of trying to conquer even an inch of it.
So you support a faction that overextended itself. And let's not forget it collapsed due to infighting among the members of Genghis Khan dynasty and the split into several other Mongolian kingdoms. And let's not forget Mongolia couldn't even conquer Japan. Even if they invaded, it's likely the Japanese clans would unite against the Mongolians to push them out of Japan. Plus, the Mongolians were not very well equipped to fight in jungle mountain warfare.
Everyone shut up! I am trying to enjoy my steak and sandwich!
Jesus Christ, Heavy, you scared the shit out of me!
What are you babies are talking about? Wait a damn second! You babies are talking about Total War Medieval? My favorite faction is Russia. It has a great mix of missile and melee cavalry, plus I would have plenty of room to expand my Russian kingdom. It's bad that my country has bad early technology, but then at least their cavalry is efficient.
For real, Heavy! Your faction lacks early infantry and missile units. Russia was not even a major power back then. It wasn't even united in the medieval period, especially after the collapse of the Kievan Rus. And when the Mongolians invaded, they conquered much of Russia, and all Russia was just a collection of Russian states based in Eastern Europe. That were easy for the Mongolians to conquer, especially since the terrain was flat.
The Mongolian Empire! Don't make me laugh, baby man! They overextended themselves so much that it eventually collapsed into multiple Mongolian kingdoms. Let me see their names, Yuan Dynasty, Chagatai, Khamed, Ilkhanate, and finally the Golden Horde.
Fought you heavier people with nothing but fucking peasants. When the Mongolians invaded, we conquered you with ease, and your people didn't even try to resist the great might of the Mongol Empire. And why you and your people are nothing but fucking peasants. Now get on your knees and bow before the great Genghis Khan.
Scout! How dare you mock my people like that? You better stop mocking my people like that, or I am going to.
What's that, peasant? I couldn't hear you because your people are paying up your taxes to the people of Mongolia. You and your people are nothing but fucking peasants, you hear me? Peasants who were basically meant to pay taxes to the Mongolian Empire. The Mongols ruled Russia for 240 years. One of the greatest effects of Mongol rule in Russia was the rise of Moscow as not only the preeminent city in Russia, but also the central power of a large and expanding empire. We literally made you Russians our bitches.
Scout! I am literally going to squeeze your neck until your head pops like a balloon!
Don't those losers have anything better to do?
Don't know about your mom, but I don't play that game.
Well, good. Besides, those stupid numbskulls can argue all they want as long as you don't get involved. Okay, baby?
Okay, Mom.
I'm glad you're my little baby Pokemon.
Oh, you wankers!
Your two arguing about some stupid medieval game downstairs in the basement.
What, you mean Total War? And they're arguing about the game without me.
I am angry!
So you guys play Total War. I'll name the glorious English kingdom. Rule Britannia. Britannia rules the waves. A freaking cost of peace drinking. Englishman has to choose the obvious one. Oh, what's the matter? Still but hurt about every time we won taking the south of France. It is pretty damn obvious you all will never stand a chance against my superior archery man. Only real men can fight like that. And combined with the boost of the strongest infantry. How else do you think we were so good at our culture and with war? Remember the Battle of Cressy? Philip tries to get his crossbow men to fire at the Englishmen. Little did they know, which they should have known themselves. Crossbows take longer to shoot them than a great longbow. And then they got absolutely annihilated. And what's more humiliating is that you guys were defeated by the peasant archers. Talk about a damn ultimate humiliation smoker.
That's embarrassing.
Disappointing.
Oh yeah, I remember watching a video of that documentary. That was a disaster.
You think that's fucking funny? The Englishmen throughout the conquest, pillage, and purge their way through at France. And they destroyed our Catholic churches. That's the other reason why we fight those English barbarians. And talk about culture. Pathetic. My country has the best interest in culture in the world. With beautiful gardens and art, including most importantly music and quality food.
Hervey does agree that you guys have great quality food, and let's not forget really good theaters.
Finally, somebody in this team that actually has class. No offense, and thank you, Heavy.
What are you two crazy sacks of raccoons doing down here arguing like a bunch of wolves?
I love the sound of bagpipes, but not that close! So freaking loud!
Oh, now it's lower class Scottish. What did you just call me, you English dog?
At least I have a good alliance with Scotland.
Oh, Spy, what are you guys arguing about?
Total War Medieval 2.
Oh, yes! My favorite faction is Scotland, as they have excellent spears and pikes, as they prove very effective against cavalry and foot soldiers. And where I play as the Kingdom of Scotland, I always love to conquer the British Isles as well as to take out the English and unite the British Isles under Scottish rule. I know if William Wallace was alive, he would be proud, as he was Scotland's greatest hero in the medieval times, as he fought to free Scotland from the evils of English tyranny. And after we conquered England, we will make the tyrant king beg for mercy as we force him to drink a jar of his own piss. And it has brought me good joy ever since I finally kicked those English snub woman chasing bastards straight to hell.
Piss off, you bloody brute! And when Scotland did face off against England, the longbowmen killed a large number of Scottish warriors on the battlefield, and as infantry were more than enough to defeat Scotland. And I know that England does not have the best cavalry. In the end, England made Scotland its bitch. We dominated the British Isles. We even brought that Scottish barbarian William Wallace to his knees and crushed his fucking Scottish rebellion. Conquered much of France. England was a major power in the medieval times, so get on your knees, you low-class Scottish drunk, and kiss the boots of your English king.
Fuck you and your whole queen! We may have lost under the English rule, but as you can see, our spirit and culture still thrives everywhere.
Honestly, I can respect the Scottish people. You guys have really high morale, spirit, dignity, and honor. As a Mongol warrior, I can respect that.
Damn right we do, lad! We even allied with the French.
Hello, maggots! I heard you guys were talking about that medieval game that I love to play in my free time. My favorite faction is Poland. Wing is ours forever, bitches.
Oh great, it's the one guy who always spams cavalry units all the damn time. That's just a peasant's dream.
You called me a peasant when your faction lost to the Polish. How pathetic. If there's anyone who is the peasant, it's you, Scout.
Oh, fuck you, soldier! How dare you mock the Mongolian Empire like that? We conquered China, the Persian Empire, along with all the other factions that were against the might of the Mongolian Empire. We made Russia our bitch, and they were reduced to nothing more than peasants, and we will do the same with Poland as they will be our bitch. After we conquer Poland, we will conquer the rest of Europe.
Don't make me laugh, you Mongolian peasant. Your faction is not even playable in a grand campaign, and your faction lacks infantry and effective gunpowder units. Poland has one of the best gunpowder units and cannons, when your faction doesn't even have that. And Poland has strong cavalry units that rivals your cavalry units, and our infantry were a lot better than your Scout. And when the Mongolian Empire invaded, we kicked their asses and repelled the invasion. And let's not forget that the Hungarians kicked the Mongolian out of their lands too, and Poland became a major power. Eventually became an Eastern European superpower called the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. We dominated Eastern Europe. And the Mongolian Empire collapsed into several other empires, and they collapsed later on as well, like for the Golden Horde, for example. It once had a vassal state called the Grand Duchy of Moscow, which rebelled against the Golden Horde and gained its independence and became Tsardom of Russia, which eventually conquered the Golden Horde. Well, your empire collapsed, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. 1795, which is quite impressive compared to your short-lived empire, you Mongolian peasant.
So the man of chivalry who turns out to be the craziest iconic patriot happens to be the favorite faction of Poland. Well, you guys did respect and give us a good chivalry battle. I can respect that.
Weren't you maggots trying to cheat by failing to assassinate Bolsa?
That is just part of war, yes.
To me, that is just straight-up damn cheating.
You guys may have a kingdom or empire, but look who had the strongest empire dick back then.
Shut the fuck up, Scout!
Shut the fuck up, Scout!
Scout, your reign of tyranny has come to an end. Once I gather my Cossacks.
Give me a good reason why they're so tougher. Oh wait, no, because one of them used to be Mongolian, like one of us. Checkmate, motherfucker.
Oh my god.
If you thought that's even more funny, just wait until they fight each other over it.
And I know exactly where they're gonna fight after they are done arguing. Seepy Gorge.
I'll go get the snacks and drinks, and get the teleporter ready.
And I'll get your genius boyfriend for you, Lumina, to see if he wants to come.
Oh, and I got the inflatable pool over there in the shack. I'll go get that too.
All of you infidels are pathetic! The Turkish Ottoman Empire are one of the most indestructible juggernauts of them all the kingdoms and empires! And while you guys are fighting each other, our Muslim brothers are slowly reuniting our people into one glorious nation of Islam! At its peak, the Ottoman Empire included the areas of Turkey, Egypt, Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, Macedonia, Hungary, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, and parts of the Arabian Peninsula in North Africa. All of you infidels are just the same fighting each other over left and right. The Turks may very much be relative newcomers to both Anatolia Holy Lands, but the impact that they have had upon these realms since they migrated from the steppes east of the Caspian has been profound enough to shake the pillars of the oldest and mightiest neighboring dynasties. Having seized control of the Abbasid Caliphate from the Buyids and utterly crushed the Byzantines at Manzikert, the Turks have restored unity to the Eastern Islamic region, making them arguably the greatest power Arabia or Persia has seen for centuries. Settling down has been the Turks' secret to asserting their dominion. Traditionally a nomadic people, they have at last adopted a system of centralized rule to form the Seljuk Empire. Considering they have relied upon their natural skill at mounted combat and guerrilla warfare for centuries, the Turks have already shown incredible talent at governing a vast empire. Considering they have relied upon their natural skill at mounted combat and guerrilla warfare for centuries, the Turks have already shown incredible talent at governing a vast empire. You support the Turkish faction, then Turkey almost got conquered by the Mongolians once, but I can respect that faction, as they have been able to defeat the Mongolians and drive them out, and they did become a powerful empire. And the Turkish faction lacks heavy armor units compared to the medieval factions in Europe, which had heavy all-mold units that could easily rip apart the Turkish units.
And the Turkish faction lacks heavy armor units compared to the medieval factions in Europe, which had heavy all-mold units that could easily rip apart the Turkish units.
With the battle axes and all that. Plus they cannot even handle the freaking cold winter.
Imbeciles, traitors, barbarians.
Who was that?
Me.
The pyromaniac speaks like a god! I shit myself!
You think I am long gone, disappeared and erased from history? The once glorious Rome. The West Roman Empire may have been deceased, but its culture and its teaching has been restored throughout the East. And to this day, and thanks to engineers' brilliant mind, he managed to put a device that makes me speak through at the mask once again. I could have requested that years ago.
Oh, boo-hoo! All things hot!
Time for you barbarians to pay the consequences. For Rome!
You medic. You call yourself Roman.
But bio we were inspired by you guys!
And remember the first, second, third and fourth crusade. We did bribe you guys to give you a handful of treasury, and then some of you dipshits have given up all because you guys were tired of crusading. Talk about all that hype for nothing. Besides, I think the only other I can think of to be with side by side with are the Russians. They may have a weak force, but with my strength and their knowledge across the land, we could overcome anything. At least I'm not the only Orthodox Christian here that doesn't get hit on because of those Catholics. The only reason why I love to play the Byzantine Empire is just how long they have survived through the fall of the Roman Empire, and they were the first ones to create flamethrowers. And by God and Trajan, I will reunite the world once again under the might of the Roman Eagle standard to the North Sea through the Mediterranean Sea. My no Roman Empire liege of all might, open by divine right. Once I'm done, I will split Europe into two, giving half of Germany to Russia. But I'll start off by finishing you Turkish scum.
Bring it on, man!
As much as Heavy agrees with your religious facts, Pyro, there could be only one to conquer the rest of you!
I hope you all are ready to get a brutal beat down, because I'm about to kick every single one of your asses straight to the real medieval age.
Get behind me, medic and soldier! We'll show these heretics what the true Dark Ages feels like!
Better count me into guys! The right after I'm done with spy!
Then we will all settle this dispute on Gorge. But I will warn all of you, you cannot all win.
Piss off, you bloody pikers! This American boot just kicked your ass back to Russia!
Diese Fräuleins an der Mittelschmerz!
Freedom! I am angry! Who sent all these babies to fight?
Huh. I forgot, you can totally do that to check on the cameras and see what happens. I get it that these guys won't never change their ways, but I really don't want to answer this question just to bother you, but what's your favorite faction in the game?
Yeah, well, I would have chosen the Republic of Venice. The Venice Republic was the center of trade economy and culture within Italy during the medieval period. It was also one of the most powerful Italian states. Throughout the centuries, we did not invest much in military expansion, but more on trade goods and economy as well as infrastructure and prosperity for the people of Venice. But I don't just play as the Venice Republic. I like to play as under faction sometimes. As well, I like to play as Spain, as it is my second favorite faction. The border between Spain and France provides strong defenses as it is mountains, plus I would have plenty of room to expand. I would be able to take all of Spain and Portugal and expand in North Africa. I play the game not because of which faction is the best. I play it because it's fun and challenging and I do give the other factions a chance. Like, for example, the Kingdom of Denmark, where you could unite Scandinavia into a single kingdom, or the Holy Roman Empire unite all Europe. Its argument just rather ridiculous. Every faction has its weaknesses and strengths, but it can really be fun to play as the other factions. I even sometimes play as Byzantine Empire to restore the Roman Empire to its former glory. Anyway, you guys should give the other factions a try, as it is fun to play as them instead of playing as your favorite ones all the time. Anyway, it must be going. You guys have a good day and please stop arguing.
Wow, Engineer is the most chillest guy in the base and the team. Isn't that right, my beautiful queen?
We, my beloved handsome rogue.
Breaking news. Some idiots battle each other in heavy melee combat. Dude, because of some dumb factions in the video game lol.
That was so funny.